This is Tuesday. Alright, let's do this. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's the latest from your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. The House is expected to vote today on whether to kick out Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Fellow Republican Matt Gaetz introduced the challenge yesterday. On social media, McCarthy told him to, quote, bring it on. Today, McCarthy says his leadership helped avoid a devastating government shutdown.
I truly believe, though, the institution of the House. At the end of the day, if you throw a speaker out that has 99%
At the end of the day, the House is divided.
That kept government open.
It is terrible shape.
And paid the troops, I think we're in a really bad place for how we're going to run Congress.
Although the leadership vote is expected this afternoon, lawmakers could also vote to table the issue. Democratic activist LaFonza Butler is scheduled to be sworn in today to the U.S. Senate. She was chosen by California's governor to serve out the remainder of the late Senator Dianne Feinstein's term. NPR's Deirdre Walsh has more.
LaFonza Butler is the president of Emily's List, a political group that backs candidates supporting abortion rights. She becomes the first openly lesbian woman of color to serve in the Senate and the third Black woman. She's worked as a labor leader and an advisor to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. Butler was also an advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris and is expected to be sworn in by the Vice President today. The Democratic primary for the seat in 2024 is in full swing. Butler has not said whether she will join that already crowded primary or intends only to fill the seat until next year's election. Deirdre Walsh, NPR News.
President Biden's son, Hunter, is in a federal court in Delaware this morning. He has pleaded not guilty to federal firearms charges. An earlier plea deal collapsed. The younger Biden is accused of lying about his drug use on a form in 2018. That's when he applied for a gun that he kept for 11 days. Disgraced cryptocurrency mogul Sam Bankman-Fried goes on trial today in New York. This comes less than a year after the multi-billion-dollar company he founded, FTX, collapsed. As NPR's David Gura reports, he's accused of defrauding customers and investors.
Sam Bankman-Fried's elaborate crypto empire crumbled last November. His cryptocurrency exchange was one of the largest in the world, but when cryptocurrency prices dipped, an $8 billion hole opened up in the balance sheet at a hedge fund Bankman-Fried started, and prosecutors allege he used money from FTX customers to fill it. They've charged Bankman-Fried with 7 criminal counts, including wire fraud and securities fraud. Bankman-Fried has pleaded not guilty. His trial is expected to last for 6 weeks. Jury selection starts today. If Bankman-Fried is found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. David Gura, NPR News, New York.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials are down more than 1%. The Nasdaq is down more than 1.5%. This is NPR. The Michigan Supreme Court has ruled the parents of a teenager will stand trial in connection with a deadly high school shooting. Jennifer and James Crumbly are accused of involuntary manslaughter. They allegedly provided their son Ethan with a gun. He killed 4 people and wounded 6 others in 2021. Ethan has been declared eligible for a life prison term without parole. A 2018 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Dr. Denis Mukwege, has announced he'll run for president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Ish Lafundikwa reports on the decision by the surgeon.
In announcing his run for president, Mukwege said he wanted to save the DRC from insecurity and poor leadership. Mukwege founded his clinic after witnessing the horrific injuries and diseases of rape victims. In 2012, he fled the DRC for a year after an armed attack on his home following a speech he gave at the United Nations critical of the government. He now lives under the protection of UN peacekeepers. Dr. Mukwege and Yazidi activist Nadia Murad were jointly awarded the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts to end sexual violence as a weapon of war. For NPR News, I am Ishma Fundikwa in Harare.
This year's Nobel Prize in Physics has been jointly awarded to 3 scientists. Pierre Agostini, Ferenc Krauss, and Anne Louier have studied how electrons function in matter. Their work can lead to better electronics and improvements in the detection of disease. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR
Yeah, we're looking
News.
at your electronic. Yeah. We see how it works now. That's going
As
to
we
help you
continue
so
to
much.
celebrate Hispanic
How's it
Heritage
gonna help me?
Month,
Well,
the
now
NASA
you know.
Office of Small
Oh,
Business
okay,
Programs is
thanks.
pleased to share the contributions of Bastion Technologies Incorporated, Bastion, a Hispanic-owned company that supports NASA's missions. Their primary role is in safety and mission assurance at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. This includes systems engineering. The first crew to take part in a year-long NASA Mars
So the
analog
electrons
mission
slow
reached a
down as the
milestone
battery
of
dies?
100
Yeah,
days
yeah.
inside the 1,700 square foot
gonna
habitat
help
on
you
October
knowing that.
3rd.
All
The
right,
four-person
right.
volunteer crew entered the Chaffee Crew Health and Performance Exploration Analog habitat at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston on June 25th to begin a 370-week day. NASA has selected 7 companies to provide commercial data in support of the agency's Earth science research. The Commercial SmallSat Data Acquisition Program will acquire Earth observation data and related services from commercial sources for NASA. This fixed price, indefinite delivery / indefinite quantity, multiple award contract will be effective for a period of 5 years with an option to extend. I can almost directly trace my entire career back to my extracurriculars in high school and a mentor I had.
Good for
My
you,
first
Alexa.
foray into engineering was this high school program called the Robotics Science Academy. It was basically my high school's attempt to put together a curriculum that was designed specifically to prepare students for.
And who are you speaking
On
about?
October 1st, 1958, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, officially began operations. President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed into law the National Aeronautics and Space Act the previous July, creating NASA to lead America's civilian space program in response to Soviet advances in space exploration. T. Keith Glennon and Hugh L. Dryden were sworn. In weather. In Seattle, it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can look for dreary weather, with a high of 62 degrees and a low of 51 degrees.
Cool. All right,
From
Amazon.
NASA.
Off.
As we continue
Amazon.
to celebrate Hispanic...
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
Why did the cow do jumping jacks? She was practicing her calisthenics.
Not funny. All right, cool. All right, have a great Tuesday.